All right, good day, everyone. And coming up is the Hawaiian Islands presents the Outrigger Resorts Big West Women's Volleyball Championship in just a short time. And on screen with me are our first team representatives to qualify for the championships. The UC Davis Aggies junior setter, Mia Starr, junior middle, Allie Chandler. And of course, we've got Haley Harward, who's going to be on the call with me at the Big West Championships. Ladies, thanks for joining me this morning.
Course. Thank you for having us.
Well, yeah, as we were saying, it's always going to be an exciting time of the year, and there's so many things that still have to be sorted out, so to speak, as far as seating and who's going to be where and who's going to be playing whom. But wanted to get you guys on screen to talk about your teams. So, as I was mentioning, your first team to qualify for the championship this year, but Davis has been a regular participant since its inception in 2023. Unfortunate first round loss to Cal Poly in 23, and in 2024 started off with a 3-1 win over UC Irvine and lost in the semifinal to the eventual champion Hawaii. But again, both of you have been in all of these championships so far. What I wanted to ask you is, how is this year's team different from previous years? And we'll start with you, Mia.
I would start off by saying our team chemistry. We really spent a lot of time together, not just obviously on the court, but off the court. And I think that really reflects in the way we're able to communicate during the game, during our plays, during our timeouts. Like we really have a good sense of connectivity. So I think that really stands out this year in terms of what makes us gel.
How about you, Allie?
Yeah, just like basically the same thing. I think the biggest difference from last year is everyone is honestly like best friends. Like you can go to anyone and they can help you with anything. So I think that just like contributes to our chemistry with each other on and off the court.
Excellent. Now, if you guys could use a word to describe this season for your team, what would that be and why?
We have this slogan called United Sisterhood, and it's just basically what we've been talking about, our chemistry with each other, our bond with each other, and we've just been like, excuse me, using that forward through this whole season.
How about you, Mia? Is that the same for you?
Yes, definitely, I would agree. I also think determination is a really big one. I think we have one big common goal, and I think we do a really good job of keeping that at the forefront. Not looking too far ahead, obviously, one game at a time, but I think in practice, in the way we show up to scout, even like we're very determined. So I would say that.
Now, with your team's dynamic, you've already talked a little bit about it in some of your previous responses, but how do you describe your culture and what has finally made this team click? I mean, for some of you, obviously you and both have been together since year one, but it just seems you are really functioning well as a team, really being efficient and really lethal in, so to speak.
I think accountability has been really big for us and our dynamic. I think it was pretty hard for us to figure that out in the beginning. You know, connections are still always like being worked on in the off season, but accountability with each other is super important to be able to grow. And I think our connection we have only made that accountability easier for each other.
How about you, Allie?
Yeah, going off of Mia, accountability has been a big thing. As you know, in the beginning of double days, we had two starters blow their knees out. So it was really hard to like kind of create that like starting lineup. We were constantly like switching girls around and like it was pretty difficult, but I'm glad that we found a solid group and the new girls on the court have brought like a new sense of fire that we haven't had in the previous years. So they've also contributed a lot to this season's growth.
Mhm.
Well, you definitely bring up an interesting point because Mia is first in the Big West in assists, and I have to look at the beneficiaries of that. I mean, I was looking at the top 20 of the Big West. You've got Allie sitting at second in hitting percentage, Breeze Shapinski hitting at 18th, Jade is first in kills, while Breeze is also 14th in kills, and I can't even imagine how it'd be like with Reese Diersbach back in the lineup because that was one of the athletes that's missing. But you had a potent offense already. How could you have been any better?
Oh, we definitely always have room to grow. Like this off season, we kind of were going off of the loss last year in the semifinals and just like constantly using that as fire and fuel to get better 1% each day.
And I think depth is really important in this. So in our off season, obviously coming off of that loss, we really worked on like getting people the right reps and the right things that we all kind of needed personally. And so I think that really aided us in our ability to like get after it this year, no matter who was on the court, who we had, like we're all collectively moving as one to, play the game we all know and love. So
Well, Mia, and I say this because I got to see you play down in my home digs, but you can just tell that there is a level up in your setting. And did you do anything different in the off season to really bring you to that level?
I don't necessarily know if it was anything in particular. I just think a different level of focus and maybe connection with the girls. Our coach, Dan Connors, always tells me to really feel where the hitters are at. So that's a very broad statement, but I kind of took that to heart and really worked on that in the off season and trying to connect with the hitters one-on-one and know what they need in certain moments. And yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing I changed.
We're going to jump onto the defensive side of things, and this means you, Allie, but blocking, your team has been amazing. Top 20 in Big West stats has your other middle, Allie Caldwell, at first in blocks. You sit at seventh, and Breeze is at 18th. What are you doing differently that's really upped your level of play, not only as an individual, but as a team?
Yeah, I mean, well, first, Ali Caldwell, she is just a phenomenal blocker. Like, we can always rely on her to get a solid block up. Um, and Breeze as well. She does a good job of blocking the line. But I think this past season, one thing that we've just been focusing on is our footwork. As a blocker, what like most important is your footwork and getting your hands over early. So we've just like really been dialing in on that. And we also have a new middle coach, Lana, who helped me with just like understanding the game more as a middle blocker and like what I should be focusing on.
Well, with both the combination of your offense improvement, defensive improvement, what are your thoughts on your team's results and successes so far here in 2025 as we near the end of the regular season?
Oh my God. I would just say I'm really grateful to work with a group of girls like this. I think our work has really shown in our progress. We're not there yet, but we still, I think, have shown the people a lot of like what we've been working on. I think leadership has been a big thing in our our roles specifically, but also kind of like the group. I think we all have leadership roles in a way. There's definitely like a captain's group, and there's people who, you know, people look up to. But I think everyone having a voice has really changed a lot this year, and it's been really beneficial. So.
Yeah, and also just having the fire of like we aren't done because realistically we haven't accomplished anything yet. So we've just been taking that game by game, point by point, and this point mentality. That's what Dan has been emphasizing on this team a lot this year, and it's been really beneficial for us.
Now, I've got to ask you about this, and if it's each other or if yourself, I've got to ask, have any of your teammates' performances or improvement this season stood out for either of you? And we'll start with you, Mia.
Yeah, definitely a couple of I would say Jade Light is a big one. She has really stepped into a big leadership role. I know she's been here, she's a senior, so she kind of has that level of experience. She's really able to like connect with each of us and kind of like outwardly express how she's there and does a really good job of like keeping the group connected. I would also say you mentioned Breeze Chapinski earlier. I think she's really brought a good fire to the game, and I've seen a lot of hard work from her. And it's not always easy, but she always pushes through, and we're always there for her. So I'm really proud of where she's at right now.
Yeah. How about you, Allie?
I would have to say Jimena and Brooke Habino. Jimena just brings this joy and light to the game of volleyball in general. So she just kind of brings that like childlike energy for our team. And obviously, she's a great libero. But she's just really stepped up into that defensive role this year, which has been awesome to see. And just to see her like talk more on the court. And then Brooke Habino, she redshirted freshman year, and then her sophomore year, she tore her ACL when she got put in her first match. So it's just been really beautiful. She's one of our great friends, seeing her like become so mentally resilient and go through the rehab and then now earning a starting spot on the team. So, and she's doing great this year. So just seeing those two girls really step into that starting role this year has been a beautiful thing to see.
Well, final question for you both is this. I'd mentioned that you're only one of four teams that's been a constant in the Big West Women's Volleyball Championship. And with this being your last year in the Big West, do you have any extra motivation to win the title and hopefully make the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, we got a lot of fire. We want it so bad. I mean, everyone does, but we just want it so bad. We're moving to the Mountain West next year and leaving the Big West. We want to make our final hoorah.
I would say, coming off of last year, not to talk about previous years too much, but I think that really kind of ignited something in us. And, it was so close. And I think we worked really hard to get there. And, we realized like how much growth this team is capable of. And like our capacity is so much higher than we truly believed. So that motivation from last year, and kind of honestly, like we talk about the heartbreak of it, like it felt like a heartbreak. Like we lost that game and we were crushed. But now, we turned a new leaf and we're looking forward. So I think that motivation, combined with obviously this being our last year, has really pushed us. So,
What is your favorite thing about your coach?
okay, I think he is really good at seeing the game and being able to help in like honestly every aspect, not even only just like setting, defensive, blocking. Like he is really able to read the game, and relay that to us based on sees. So it leaves us feeling like pretty secure in what we know and what we've scouted. So I really admire him for that and being super open and helping us with what we need to change based on personnel and the teams we're playing. So.
Dan Connors is a great coach. He's been coaching at Davis for a long time, so he knows what he's talking about. But I'm going to go the more personable route. I think he's very goofy in his own ways. Like he can just be like awkward with the girls sometimes, but we just think it's like hilarious. And, just as I've been here more years at Davis, just getting to know the type of man that he is, he's a great guy.
And then I wanted to ask you guys about the loss to Cal Poly. Not to dwell on that, but more so like, what did you take from that? How did you bounce back? Did you use it as fuel? What was like the energy of the team after that match specifically?
Just like to begin with, the match was really hard for us. We just had the Santa Barbara match. I think it was the previous night or two nights before. That was so mentally draining. And then we got straight on a 5-hour bus ride. So not to make it, but it was already like pretty rough for us. So going into Mott and it already being a hard gym to play in, we were just all like confuzzled and stuff. But we definitely took that as a learning curve. And it kind of just like put us back in a reality check of like, okay, this is the Big West we're in. Anyone can beat anyone. You got to show up 100%. So yeah, we just showed up harder at practice and just been growing and working, and can't wait to see them again in the playoffs.
Be sure to watch the Hawaiian Islands presents the Outrigger Resort's Big West Women's Volleyball Championship at the Walter Pyramid in Long Beach, or watch all the matches on ESPN Plus with Haley Harward and I on November 26th, 28th, and 29th, along with Mia Starr and Allie Chandler of UC Davis. Appreciate your time, ladies.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for having us.